I'm obviously very happy with the outcome of the case, and it looks like I'm not having to retire from my day job after all. But at the same time, I'm unbelievably frustrated that baseless claims like this are allowed to go to court at all.
Welcome back to GMA3. That was Ed Sheeran after a federal jury found the pop star not liable in a very closely watched copyright infringement trial. Sheeran was accused of copying elements of Marvin Gaye's 1973 classic Let's Get It On for his 2014 Grammy-winning hit, Thinking Out Loud.
And here to break it all down for us are ABC News contributors Mike Muse and attorney Brian Buckmire. Thanks to the both of you for being here. Brian, we'll start with you. Are you surprised with the outcome? I mean, the verdict was, what, only deliberating for 3 hours?
Yeah, if you had told me this would be the verdict at the beginning of the trial, I would have been more shocked. But as the case went on, I mean, you put Ed Sheeran on a stand with a guitar singing to 7 jurors, I think he's going to sway a lot of people, but also his musicologist who took the stand and said there are 101 other songs with similar chord progressions, 30 of them before Let's Get It On. These are fundamental building blocks to songs. After that, I thought, all right, it's going to go towards Ed's side.
Okay, Mike, this isn't the first copyright infringement case that we've seen. In 2015, Gaye's estate won in court against Robin Thicke and Pharrell Williams for their song Blurred Lines, saying it copied the Marvin Gaye song Got to Give It Up. How was that case different than this one?
I think that's a brilliant question that you ask, Eva, because it allows us to really explain the difference with this case. What happens is, as Brian just alluded to, there is a 4-chord progression that happens in every pop song. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the notes hit the timestamp on that. That's in every pop song. So you can't copyright the chord progression. What you can copyright, though, is the melody. And this is the difference. Pop normally starts out slow in the verses and they build to a crescendo in the chorus. With other songs, in particular like soul, R&B songs, they kind of start out in the pocket and they stay consistent all the way to the chorus. So with Blurred Lines, there was more of a clear similarities between it because Robin Thicke is more of a soul artist. And so the melody was very similar to Marvin Gaye with the consistency. The difference with this one is Ed Sheeran started out low, where Marvin Gaye came in hot with the vibe, but then the chorus, Marvin dropped down low, Ed went high and with crescendo, big number. That is a formula for pop songs. So it was difficult to copyright the melody can be copyrighted, can be copywritten, but not the 4-chord progression. And so that is why the 2 cases are so different, and you saw 2 different outcomes.
Yeah, they were able to argue that effectively. Brian, back to you. You talked about Ed Sheeran being on the stand and testifying, which is always risky whenever a defendant takes a stand. This worked for him, obviously. And what does this mean for the industry moving forward?
So a lot of people think, is this a precedent-setting case? And it is to some degree and not in others. And the way I explain it is, this is going to be the flag. And other artists are going to say, hey, I have a song with maybe a 5-chord progression that's similar to this. And they're going to look to Ed Sheeran and say, well, he won the case because he spoke about how the song was about his grandfather and losing him and his relationship. And so as an affirmative defense, he was able to show why he created the song rather than copied it. And if other artists have a similar background, great. Look to Ed Sheeran's case, and that's going to be a great win for you. But also, you'll look at Ed Townsend's case and say, well, this is where he failed, and if I see similar songs like this to mine, if I can make better arguments to him, maybe I'll win. It's going to be a measuring stick going forward.
Yeah, this is a very common occurrence where individuals kind of sit back, and even previous artists will sit back when a new artist does a song that's either very familiar that they feel like there's a suit against. They'll wait until the song is big, and then they will do a copyright infringement moment for that. But we're seeing with the 2 differences related to Marvin Gaye is that essentially it's 1-1 now, right? The score is tied. And so could you say it's a precedent? Yes, if this would have went in favor of the Marvin Gaye estate, then it could have been a precedent being set. But because it's 1-1, producers now have a way to think about, how do I get around any potential lawsuits of copyright infringement? One way of an easy example is when it comes to sampling. Sampling is an easy way to get a copyright lawsuit, but what producers do now is they just have new musicians just redo the song. And so if you have a musician redo the song, it's no longer a copyright moment that someone can sue you for. And so now the producers will now become more creative when it comes to the melody. They'll be more thoughtful about the melody. How can we reinterpret the melody so that we can't get sued because a melody can be copywritten and not the 4-chord progression? And so I think the creation of music now, producers have 2 clear, distinct examples of where a lawsuit could be credible and where a lawsuit wouldn't be credible.
You know what? Our viewers should also know that you have a background in music, because I'm sitting over here like, this guy is an expert at literally everything, but you do have a background in music, so you get it.
Yeah, I did. I started an independent record label with Muse Recordings, and so we did the tours, created music,
And you
had a
understand
blast.
how it all works.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Mike Muse and Brian Buckmire. Good to see you both.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.